Hey, everybody.
Hey, as I rub my eye as we go live.
Troy, you're still looking very bright. Bright in
That's
this
weird.
harsh lights.
I thought we looked really dark earlier when we did a Patreon jump.
It's not all about the Patreon, Troy.
All right.
We appreciate the patrons,
That's
but,
right.
it's not all about that.
That's true.
Having said that, keep paying. Those of you that are kind enough. Let me back up just a hair.
What?
Scoot a bit.
All right.
Hey, everybody.
Backing up.
Phil, come on. 60% of the reading. What are you doing?
Yeah, what do you think you are, me? Just kidding. I actually read all this one.
That's
Not
right.
that I didn't read all the other ones, but...
So we're going to give it just a couple minutes for the last folks to trickle in here as we are kicking off our Saga of the Swamp Thing, Imperious Rex, Volume 1, Book Club, Communal, Live, Stream.
Yeah, that's right.
The acronym is hidden in there somewhere.
Swamp Thing, Spring Fling.
Spring Fling, yeah. Swamp Thing, Spring Fling.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we are going to be hydrated or dehydrated this episode by Angry Orchard, appropriately. And we're classing it up a bit with a nice rosé.
That's
We've
right.
got this nice peach pink-colored rosé.
Rosé's really in now, Dave. You know that?
No, I didn't.
Well.
Had no idea. How many
Got a
times I
wedding
got
ring
to
it.
twist this thing?
It's a pop-off. You got a wedding ring it.
Let's see.
I would love just an hour of this.
I'm going to lose my finger doing that.
Oh, here we go.
While
Let me
we're
set this
waiting,
on my phone.
While we're waiting, if you were a first-time caller, thank you.
You're welcome.
Whether you're longtime friends or first-time callers to the Imperious Rex channel, this is usually how things go.
Just to get us warmed up.
Haphazardly.
Yeah.
So take a moment, get yourself comfortable, grab a nice beverage or snack, have your Swamp Thing volume handy, and we're just going to give just a moment to trickle in. We'll make small talk.
Hey, Phil.
Light up the chats.
Johnny in the chat, he said he finished the reading 20 minutes ago. Where were you?
Probably moving. I think Phil was moving this week.
Oh, are you? Phil? Moving?
I'm not Phil.
Phil?
I can't speak for Phil, but I heard that he's moving. And as we're waiting, I just got a order from In Stock Trades. So
unboxing video.
This is going to be a bit of an unboxing video, which I hate. I hate second only to reaction videos, but since we're killing time,
let's do a reaction video of me watching you unbox this.
Should we live stream that on a separate device?
I think we should.
All right. So we're waiting for everyone to come in. 2 more minutes or so. Top of the hour. Alan Moore's Saga of the Swamp Thing.
You bet.
In the meantime, we're just taking a look at the goodies that I just got from In Stock Trades, which is my go-to place for comic purchases, trades, and hardcover purchases.
Same.
I have completely forgotten what I bought. Catwoman, Volume 1 by Joelle Jones.
God, what a peach she
One
is.
of our favorites. Kick-Ass, Volume 2 by Steve Niles and Marcelo Fruzen. Haven't kept up on this, but I enjoyed the Mark Millar run enough. Venom, Volume 2 by Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman. This nice big Sex, Volume 6. I think this just started going directly to trades. They're not even doing issues anymore.
Really?
Which I'm fine with. I wish more books did that, actually.
Same.
By Joe Casey and Piotr Kowalski.
Nailed it.
Got it. Gideon Falls, Volume 2. I've only read the first volume, but it's fantastic.
Oh,
Jeff Lemire, friend of the show.
Yeah.
And Andrea Sorrentino, Magic Order, some more Mark Millar, and Olivier Coipel. And lastly, Stray Bullets, Volume 4, Sunshine and Roses by David Lapham. We don't ever check pronunciations on this show.
No.
So let's go to Alan Moore. No, we're good.
All right.
So that's just a little treat for everybody, mainly me, because they're my books, as we kick off the show.
Hey, we got a Tessitore in there.
Nice little icebreaker to kick us off here.
OJ, you disappoint me. Oh, because he's playing way too much Red Dead? I get it.
Yeah.
I get
I'm
it.
not even going to bring up your Red Dead fishing escapades.
Listen, it's taken the internet by storm, Dave.
All right. Well,
all right, let's get into it.
Yeah, we've wasted enough time here. People that are first-time viewers are like, when the hell are these guys going to talk about Swamp Thing?
Right now, you dopes.
Yeah. But before we talk about Swamp Thing, let's talk about the Swamp Thing trailer that premiered about a week ago.
Sure.
From the DC Universe app.
Mm-hmm.
This will be following Doom Patrol, which is kicking all kinds of ass right now. I've really been enjoying it.
Same. I'm one episode behind, which bums me out. But
okay. From what I recall, it was a good one.
Great.
So you're in for a treat. And I think we have 4 episodes left, and then we're moving on to Swamp Thing. And despite like a weird hiccup there, where it was canceled, but then it wasn't. And then they immediately rectified that by unleashing a trailer on Earth Day of all days. And did you watch the trailer, Troy?
I did.
Looked really, really good.
I burped. Also, I have something to say.
Okay.
I feel like the tone of the trailer is great.
Yes.
But I couldn't decipher what was happening in it at all.
No. I caught a couple snippets that I think relate to a few parts in the reading today.
Sweet.
I think we have some Floronic Man that we glimpsed.
Oh, okay.
The guy that was kind of transforming there in like the weird like scientific little tent.
Okay, science tent.
Science tent.
Okay.
And then we got the man, the myth, the legend, Swamp Thing himself at the end, emerging from the swamp. Yes. And it looks like they're really leaning into that hard horror slant.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah, you got the platform to do it. Go nuts.
Why not?
And you got James Wan on that?
Yeah. Well, he's producing.
He's on it.
Yeah. His name is attached to this.
Right.
Somehow.
Yep. I think, I hope that it's going to be good.
Same.
Right.
I am apprehensive because they did cut it short. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason. Maybe it was too expensive to produce.
Could be.
Maybe they saw it and they were like, this kind of sucks. Let's just
totally
write anything right here.
Could be.
Don't know. We'll see, won't we?
Yep. But you know what? A lot of times I feel like these shows run its course well before they reach their finale. Mm-hmm. So if they want to trim some fat, I'm okay with that, just as long as they didn't like chop off the ending of this thing.
Yeah.
So,
I can see that.
Fingers crossed. I think we'll have this stream, and we'll have one more for Volume 2, and then like days later it'll premiere.
Yeah.
So we'll have a glimpse very shortly on what the show is looking to be.
Optimism.
That's right. So there we go. We've got some folks on the chat. They're saying it looks good. Troy says his lighting. Or no, Troy isn't saying that. Troy's looking very washed out. That's just how he looks. That's not really...
I haven't gotten any sun yet this year. This is it.
I'm going to go ahead and move this light back just a hair. Just a hair. Some on-air producing. We're going to see if we can get Troy...
I feel like I look more washed out now, and I thought I looked decent before.
Whatever. What do you guys want? This isn't James Cameron producing this.
OJ it's just really sticking it to me. I look painfully pale because of the Midwest long winter. And for whatever reason, had winter again this last weekend. What is going on?
How's that, OJ? How's that wife upstairs? Love your notes. All right. Should we get into it?
Yes.
Winter is coming, Troy.
Yeah, I get it.
As a matter of fact, winter's over. Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
You keep up with that?
I don't.
Did you see the last episode?
No.
It was dog shit. No spoilers. I hated it. All right. Let's get into it.
Let me just, while we're on that train for a second,
We don't have time. That train has sailed.
I just have
swampy.
2 seconds.
No, we don't have time for that.
All right, fair enough.
All right.
I'm holding the book, but I also am holding these notes. Here we go. Swamp Thing, Dave.
Yes. Did you have something to say about Thrones?
This is literally my life. Alan Moore took over Swamp Thing on issue 20 of Volume 2 of the relaunch of Swamp Thing.
Yes.
In 1984.
That's right.
January.
Who kicked off Swamp Thing?
Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson.
That's right.
That's right.
Comics greats.
Wikipedia has this to say. This article is about the fictional comics character. For other uses, see disambiguation. Not to be confused with Man-Thing. Which, why would anybody be confused with Man-Thing? Man-Thing sucks.
Yes, he absolutely does.
Yeah. Anyway, so, actually, Man-Thing does debut 2 months prior to Swamp Thing, which I new, but I'm always surprised to hear because Swamp Thing's like the bigger send off, like bigger character.
It was all out in the ether at that point. 2 months. I mean, that's
Right.
nothing for a production schedule. Yeah.
I know. I totally get it. Swamp Thing was so popular that it actually spawned 2 movies.
Yeah, we got a Wes Craven joint.
That's
out
right.
Of one of them.
Swamp Thing.
Adrian
and then
Barbeau.
And then Return of the Swamp Thing. I don't know when that happened. Years later.
No one does.
I didn't even remember it existed.
I think it immaculately congealed somewhere in a swamp, as a matter of fact.
In 1990, a 3-season, 72-episode TV series debuted on USA.
72
which
episodes.
Blew my mind also that it was 72 episodes.
That's unheard of.
For 3 seasons.
That was when like every season was 30 episodes.
I know. It's insanity.
Fun note, I remember watching an episode of Swamp Thing, the show, as a kid. It was about a creature that came out of a painting.
Oh.
And it scared the bejesus out of me. I saw it at my grandma's house and like had nightmares. And that is all I've ever seen of the Swamp Thing show.
Took you out of paintings for a while.
It did. I went straight to sketches. No more paintings. No more watercolors.
It also spurred a 1990s 5-episode animated series that corresponded with the release of the Kenner toy line.
There's one of them right there.
There's one right there.
I had the whole set of these guys.
And then, of course, DC Universe is coming out May 31st with a Swamp Thing 10-part series with that. So that's also great.
Yep.
It's funny enough, we'll get to it, but Alan Moore wraps up the previous writer's run at issue 20, the previous writer being Martin Pasco, who was doing like a kind of weird Antichrist story, which he kind of wraps up before he gets to it, but then the Sutherland Corporation is like a big part of it that Alan Moore wraps up. Sunderland. That wraps up in an issue called Loose Ends, ironically enough, which I thought was very funny. And he also wrote this issue at 30 years old, and it was the first American work that Alan Moore ever produced.
Amazing.
Yes.
So he's coming in hot off his Miracle Man run. And he dove into Watchmen right around this time, right?
He was a hot commodity around this time.
And I'm assuming V for Vendetta was around this time too, but for Warrior Comics in the UK?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Golden age of Alan Moore right there. I don't think he ever did better than that, like, 2 or 3 year stretch.
I don't know. Like, he was...
he got angrier, that's for sure.
Oh, for sure he did. One last note that I have here is that Saga of the Swamp Thing was the first mainstream comic to ditch the Comics Code Authority in its completion. And ironically enough, that, well, I guess it's not ironic. It's just odd enough that the Comics Code Authority lasted until 2011.
That is insane.
Insane.
Really?
You would have thought when like that Spider-Man issue came out where Harry Osborn was on pills or whatever, it's like, oh, we can just do this without it?
Yeah.
But no, it lasted.
Like the Green Arrow, where his Ward is a junkie.
Yeah.
That Neil Adams one.
DC Comics and Archie Comics was still under the CCA until 2011.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is the CCA still in effect?
It's
completely
debunked.
done?
And 2011, it was done.
It died with Wartham? He stuck around till then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, those are all my fun facts before we get into it.
Nice little bit of background there.
Thanks.
DC is also reprinting the Bronze Age Swamp Thing right now.
Oh, okay.
In there's an omnibus, and I think they're putting it out in trades and digital in like collections. And I picked up the volume 1 of that, and I haven't read it yet, but I was really interested in it because it'll give you everything Swamp Thing related up until this, and it might be like 40 issues.
Okay.
Because it was Swamp Thing, and then it was Saga of the Swamp Thing.
Yes. Yep.
And if you're reading this right now, if you jumped on board with us and you are new to Swamp Thing, you may be wondering, what the hell is going on in this first issue?
Yeah.
Which seems like a great place to kick off.
Yes.
Officially, 15 minutes into the stream, let's discuss the book that you've all read.
First issue in this, Loose Ends. I'm going to be honest, it took me 3 tries to get through this one issue. Just because I'm like, what are they talking about? I didn't care about any of this. Everything that I remembered liking from Swamp Thing wasn't in this issue.
I read it on a plane, so I had nothing better to do. But I found myself really wondering what came before this.
Yeah.
Knowing that it gets better, but
Yeah.
wondering like, but where was it before this?
I also want to go back and kind of read where this started
Mhm.
and lead up into the Alan Moore run, even though I kind of looked and see what other people thought, and it's like a wordy mess. It's like what they've said.
Wordy messes are tough reads.
Yeah, they are. But, I mean, it's only 19 issues in the grand scheme of things. It's not that many.
No, you could binge it. I've been reading Doom Patrol since Morrison left, and that's like 28 issues. And it's bizarre, but I'm like, it's not that much further. I'm just going to see it through to the end.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will, won't we?
We will.
So what do you think of Loose Ends?
I didn't hate it. I got through it easy enough.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the strangest piece of it was how many peripheral characters there were to it. So there was Alex, Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
There was Abby and Matthew.
Yeah.
And then there was that young couple.
Yeah.
What were their names?
I couldn't tell you.
Chat?
I guess I got the book right in front of me.
But there was like a young couple that were like an on again, off again. They were like the Ross and Rachel of Swamp Thing there.
Dennis and damn, I don't know.
Denise, we'll call her.
Dennis and Denise.
They're interchangeable and they don't go anywhere. They were just kind of companions along the way in the previous arc.
Yeah.
So they kind of like wind down their chunk and just basically, as we said, wrap up all the loose ends and then let Alan Moore just go hog wild into the next
do whatever he wants.
Full issue.
But they do, I guess, for anybody who never dove into the previous stuff, they touch on Arcane in this a little bit, but he's dead from a
helicopter crash
with the government dubs as a UFO crash.
Yeah.
To make it more easily to understand, I suppose.
He's in his Thanos chopper.
Yeah.
He's in a weird copter, and Arcane is like Swamp Thing's Joker, essentially. He's a re-emerging villain, and I think he's constantly like in a state of mutation.
Yeah.
And also creating other mutants around him.
Yeah.
Although none of that is really touched on in Alan Moore's run. I think it's just everything around Alan Moore's run is where Arcane is like more heavily involved.
I really actually liked
Liz and Denise. No, Liz and Dennis. Thank you.
Thanks. Good job, dude. So, I actually really liked the...
I'm going to give you a little more light.
All right, wash me out. Wash me out, boy!
Whoosh!
No, so, I actually really like the almost like Hamlet-esque of Swamp Thing talking to Arcane in this when he's dead.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I am like
a monster.
A monster trying to be regain his humanity, and you were just the opposite of me.
Yes.
I thought that
you were a man who's become a monster.
Yeah. I really like that.
Yeah, in the whole thing, he's kind of discussing how man has examined or explored or investigated the world so much that there's no longer a place for monsters.
Right.
They don't have a shadow to hide in anymore.
Yes.
And as the Sunderland Corporation is patrolling the swamp and he's running for his life, there's nowhere for him to hide. He's chased out of the shadows and brought forth into the light.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what this is. You get that Abby and Matthew are kind of on the rocks. They're like a married couple, and they obviously have some issues.
Yeah.
And then the young couple, Liz and Dennis, I don't know what the hell they're up to, but we don't really get much more of them after this.
No.
But mainly, it's just kind of wrapping up everything from the pre-existing storyline. Arcane is dead, and Swamp Thing is being hunted. And the issue ends with Swamp Thing being just shot down in the swamp.
Yeah.
Dead.
Yeah. Quite shocking for an opening. So that was good on that part. But that brings us right into Anatomy Lesson, which is probably my favorite issue.
So good.
Of this, at least this volume.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I would say so as well.
It's funny because Swamp Thing is a player in this, but only as an experiment.
Yeah.
And half through volume 1, Swamp Thing doesn't do anything.
No.
He is incapacitated through half of this volume and only isn't a player until the last half of this book.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this one, Sunderland hires Jason Woodrue, the Floronic Man.
Yes.
To just kind of run diagnostics on the corpse of Swamp Thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Woodrue realizes that Swamp Thing is not what he seems. He's not what the title has described him as
Right.
over the course of his entire comic book run.
Right.
And I think we get the most interesting take on a character like Swamp Thing still today. Like, I don't know if we've had a revelation in a long-running character that's as eye-opening and interesting as Alan Moore's take on Swamp Thing.
I agree. And I don't even know if they're still doing it that way now. I think they might have reverted back to the man who turned into a monster rather than it's just like a creature with a consciousness of a person.
So if everyone's done the reading, they know it, but let's lay it out real quick here.
Mm-hmm.
Swamp Thing has always thought that he was Alec Holland, who was injured in a explosion in his lab. He ran screaming and on fire into the swamp, doused in his chemicals. The what is it called? The biorejuvenative formula or whatever.
Yeah.
And it just caused the swamp to like stick to him and make him into a swamp monster.
Mm-hmm.
When in fact, he died as soon as he hit the swamp, and the formula saved his essence and his consciousness, which was absorbed into the swamp, the living, the plant life, everything.
Yep.
And that kind of reestablished and reformed a monster that created itself in the form of a man.
Mm-hmm.
And it thought it was Alec Holland, but it never was.
No.
And they use like the flatworm analogy that if you make a flatworm run a maze and then cut it up and feed it to other flatworms, they can run the maze on the first try.
Yeah.
So they, like, the swamp absorbed the brain patterns of Alec Holland.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic origin for a hero.
Yeah.
So not only is he a monster that thinks he's human, he's never been human, and there's nothing he can do to become human.
Right.
So he's completely screwed.
Yes. Yeah, I really like, actually, there's like a dream sequence like later on in the book where Swamp Thing has the choice of carrying his wife or his corpse. And he's like, I can't carry both of you.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, what a great visual.
And he's trying to like his wife.
Yeah.
Because he's still clinging to the memory of what he thought he was of Alec Holland.
I thought that was really cool.
And that's a big turning point. That is when he finally kind of cuts ties with his humanity and embraces the fact that he's like a monster.
Yeah.
And he eventually becomes an elemental, but we'll get into that in
later
volumes. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
This is what Jason Woodrue uncovers and tries to relate to Sunderland, who is just an old codger
who loves his doodads and computers
and is like that what do you call it, the balls on the strings that you pull one back. His doodads, his trinkets, his tchotchkes. He loves all that. And he basically tells Woodrue, like, nah, piss off. You don't know what you're doing.
I love my little tablet the size of a checkerboard. They only say that like 40 times in this issue.
Yep. So Woodrue knows something's up, and he's just kind of sitting there reveling in the fact that Swamp Thing is not dead.
Right.
He's just kind of regrowing.
Right.
And he's going to come back to life pissed off.
Yes.
As pissed off as all those people were watching our Captain Marvel review. And then that, in fact, happens. Swamp Thing reemerges, very out of sorts. Angry, reads his file.
Yeah.
Sunderland asks him, "Do you like it?" Might be my favorite panel in this entire volume. And Swamp Thing essentially kills him.
Yeah.
Hugs him to death.
Right.
In this fortress, this like glass fortress that Sunderland has built for himself. Everything's automated.
Right.
But he's screwed over and trapped inside there with the swamp creature.
Yeah.
Anything to add?
No, I just the horror aspect of it and the art is like really on point in this. Steve Bissette with Totalbin on the inks. I really loved this haunting issue of Swamp Thing a lot. Anatomy Lesson. I can say it again. It's my favorite issue of this whole thing.
Yes. Just checking the chat here. Jake Knapp, do you plan on picking up the Absolute editions releasing later this year? If my wife is watching right now, no. I heard they canceled it, which blows my mind that DC would cancel a moneymaker like an Alan Moore Absolute edition. Like, how many Alan Moore properties do they have that they can turn over into an Absolute?
Yeah.
Especially when they haven't been pimping Swamp Thing out that much. And you've got a new show premiering.
Yeah.
Why would you hold on to that? So maybe they just like pushed it back a little. But I was planning on that being my first Absolute edition that I would buy. Because I buy everything, so I don't need more of the same thing, but I would rebuy Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
So I hope they do put it out. I think that one would warrant getting an Absolute.
Oh, can you imagine those big pages?
Oh! All that artwork.
Oh,
not dated
God.
at all. The wife is watching.
Oh, God. The next issue, entitled Swamped, probably has my favorite panel in all of Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
The one where he's grown into the swamp and he just got water pooling in his face holes.
Yeah, in his deep crevices.
Yeah,
his laugh lines.
Got like yams growing out of him. That's so good.
Oh, Swamp Thing has such deep laugh lines. That's an expressive face.
Like the first time I ever saw this panel, you see Abby Cable and Matt Cable kind of like gasping. Yeah. And I'm like, what are they even looking at? Until I finally saw that Swamp Thing was in there. And I'm like, oh, it's Swampy.
Yeah.
He's right there. I love it. It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, pooled in his eye holes and everything.
Yeah.
And he's pretty much set roots like that
for
the entire issue.
He's down for the winter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So this issue, a lot of it is like mulling around in Swamp Thing's subconscious.
Yeah.
As he's kind of reflecting on past battles.
Yep.
Which was another one that made me kind of want to revisit some of these Bronze Age stories, because there's like this Frankenstein-like creature called the Patchwork Man, which I think is some relation to Abby. And he appears later in the volume, but without a whole lot of background either. So that was another reason why I kind of wanted to jump back.
Yeah. This also has more Floronic Man stuff in it.
Yeah, he's kind of really embracing the green at this point.
He's out and about. He takes a yam.
A tuber? Is that what they call it?
A tuber off of Swampy and eats it.
Which Abby is just disgusted by.
Yeah,
he's growing things! Yeah. Oh, man. Just wait till you try a bite of that tuber.
Just look at him just mow down on this tuber. Look at him. He's so pleased with himself.
God. He's enjoying that. Really savoring the richness.
Look at just as I thought. Perfectly edible.
Look at that yam juice dripping down his chin. Line.
But yeah, then it does like the whole existential thing with like him trying to carry his previous wife and his like subconscious saying, I can't carry both of you. Like, oh my God, what a great line.
Yeah. And meanwhile, people are visiting him as he's kind of rooted into the swamp here.
Yeah.
Woodrow extracts some essence of him in the form of sex yams.
They're not sex yams quite yet.
Not yet. They evolve into sex yams. But by eating that, he gains like a deeper connection to the green.
Yes.
Which is just this kind of like elemental force where the living things on the planet, like human meat things, are the red. Plant life and other living things are the green.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's explored in this run, but I know for sure in Scott Snyder's run, there's the rot, and that's all of like decay and death.
Yeah.
And they all just kind of work together to create the circle of life.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that because this is the first emergence of that as well. I think Alan Moore created that in this.
Yeah.
Really well done.
Yeah, and later on he expands it with like the Parliament of Trees and some other things that we can look forward to in later volumes.
Yeah.
But Woodrow gets a taste of that, and he sheds his spray-on skin, which he is such a weird character. We were both saying before this, I don't know anything about the Floronic Man, but I'm open to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if he would translate at all if he wasn't written by Alan Moore in this context. But
He definitely works as like a horror character.
Yeah.
At least the way Moore does him with his like spray on skin that like melts off in the shower and all that. Even when it's like really close ups of him and it's got Bissett's art and he's got like weird spiny things around his lips and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
What's going on with your
lips?
face, bro?
Yep. Patrick Mann is Abby's dad, who her uncle Arcane turned him into.
That Arcane, up to no good.
What a piece of shit.
What
that
a no
Arcane.
good, Nick, that Arcane.
Write in on Floronic Man if you have any info on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he eventually becomes kind of like the emissary of the Green.
Yeah.
And at this point, he kind of wreaks havoc on the world, where he's kind of in the mindset that humans are wrecking Mother Earth, and he is going to right their wrongs by extinguishing human life and reverting the planet to the Green.
Right.
So he goes and just cuts a path through humanity. Kicking ass, taking names, killing everybody in really inventive, ingenious ways by like sealing up houses in like vines so that the oxygen is trapped inside, and then if like any spark is created, they just ignite. Just little things like that. Real bad dude.
Real bad dude. Bad enough that the Justice League have to get involved. And
which was a strange addition to this. It felt a little out of place, but then it also gives you the scope of this, where it's like they even say like, we fought this guy before. He's like a C-lister.
Like, where did he get off?
Where did he get these powers?
I thought it was kind of funny reading the Justice League through Alan Moore's eyes, because I think Alan Moore hates superheroes almost more than Garth Ennis does,
or Warren Ellis,
but I it's so funny to me, like reading like Superman and like all these characters in here through like how Alan Moore would assume try to say, and they just sound like total dicks. And we just talked about like the Ultimates like right before this, and I'm like, I think even Alan Moore is just like, no, they suck.
Yeah, I can't punch this. Even Batman is like out of his league here.
Yeah,
thanks, babe.
You bet.
So they're just kind of sitting there twiddling their thumbs, and meanwhile, Swamp Thing is finally kind of getting his act together.
Yeah, he's getting himself put together.
So what is it that snaps him out of it?
I think he feels like something in the Green that's like kind of pulling him away. And maybe Abby Cable has got something going on with them too. Yeah, because even like pages right before that you get to Justice League stuff, she's like clawing at him to get up.
Yeah.
Because like she's getting strangled out.
Oh yeah, because
by, like, the
Woodrue
roots.
ends up attacking her, and that's what kind of kicks him into gear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a little background of Floronic Man, compliments of SM1, This Is Dead. Calling himself the Plant Master, Woodrue uses his advanced botanical knowledge to control plant growth in an attempt to take over the world. Seems to be his M.O.
So is he kind of like Poison Ivy?
Seems like it. He's the gender reversal of Poison Ivy.
Yeah. Is it the same kind of thing? Or does he have like more clout over plant life?
I felt like he didn't. I felt like he was nothing until he got like this Swamp Thing sexy-am injection.
You're right.
But I like him in this. I'm looking forward to seeing him. I think he's a great villain for Swamp Thing, and I think he's a really good. If they're doing the series, he's a good one to kind of introduce.
Yeah.
For the first arc there.
Yeah.
Even though it kind of falls into the Marvel method of you're fighting your like doppelganger type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm okay with Floronic Man.
Yeah, me too. Especially if they do it like they do in this.
Yeah,
I really
grotesque.
like it. Yeah, and even like to the point where Swamp Thing like defeats him by like kind of proving a point. Like if you kill all the animal life in this, then there's no carbon dioxide for plants to breathe. So you're killing off them.
You'd think
too.
Yeah, you'd think the plant world would have kind of realized that going in.
As soon as he figures that out,
misstep.
then everyone's like, oh yeah, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
like, they back away.
Floronic Man sucks.
But then the Justice League finally make it there after Swamp Thing solved their problem. And he's like, oh shit, the Justice League, quick! and he tries to spray out all this stuff, and he just looks worse.
Oh my god!
Just like skin hanging off of him.
It's as if Michael Scott from The Office tried to fool them, and he's just like,
yeah. What's wrong, guys? Do I get something in my teeth?
"Oh, my arm hurts. I think I sprained it." After Swamp Thing just like ripped his arm from the bone, and it's just like dangling by ligaments. I'm taking a look at my iPad because I read this digitally and screenshotted a couple panels here, so I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything that I thought was relevant.
Is Jason Woodrue in Batman and Robin? Is he like the boss of Poison Ivy?
Yes.
He's Lionel Luthor, right?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah,
oh,
in the
my
Batman
God.
and Robin movie. Yeah, he is.
Good one, This Is Dead.
Yep.
What do you got going on? What do you got going on over there, Dave?
I'm way behind. Keep going.
Oh,
Keep
sorry.
me.
Well,
Pick up my weight.
after the Floronic Man is done for, it kind of jumps into then Jason Blood.
Our favorite.
Yeah.
Our favorite rhyming demon.
Yeah, but not quite yet. And it gets into that weird horror monkey story that you were telling me about. You're like, I don't know about this one.
Yeah.
And it goes on for issues.
2? Is it 2 issues or is this 3?
It
It felt a little long, I have to say. I enjoy this volume a lot, but I like the beginning more than the end.
It goes on for 3 issues, Dave.
Oof.
I do like the setup, and I do like Etrigan the Dragon shows up.
Demon.
Etrigan the Demon
He's a bit dragon-like.
He is. Except, I feel like I couldn't find a good cadence.
Alan Moore is so ahead of me in terms of his rhyming skills. I'm like, I don't know how to...
I eventually found... But I had to read each, like, rhyme twice to find, like, oh, I need to read it in this cadence, in this beat, in order for it to, like, make sense.
Mm-hmm.
What would be worse if he didn't rhyme at all?
Yeah.
And then it'd be like, then what are we even doing Etrigan for here? What are you doing, Moore?
Yep. Moore is just so ahead of everybody else that his rhyming is just incomprehensible to us noobs. Us Poetry 101s.
Is he far ahead of us, or does he not quite get it either? And like, we're made to believe that he's ahead of us.
The first one.
Right? All right, sure, whatever. I mean, he's got the accolades, not me, right? I got a YouTube show.
Right. Exactly. We're almost to 2,000. Don't sell yourself short.
Mazel tov.
All right, so yeah, now we're on the last stretch here of Swamp Thing, Saga of, and this one is involving Abby, who kind of severs ties with her husband, who has this strange supernatural power, which is another reason I kind of want to go back to the Bronze Age of Swamp Thing to get a little bit more insight on Matt Cable.
Yeah,
where he's able to like conjure up like weird sexual demonic fantasies.
Maybe.
But he's also a drunk, and I don't know if it's only when he's drinking, but it's this weird little perversion he has that she's like completely over.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh God, he's in the room with the door closed. He's probably got centipede women crawling all over him. He's reeking of tequila. I
actually like the scene though where she's at the door and she can hear stuff going on there. She like expects the worst, right?
Yeah.
And she busts in, she's like, man, what are you doing? And he's like,
nothing.
Hey, you want to watch TV?
Yeah, I know.
You kind of read it like Korg. Like, oh, hey, what's up, man?
Oh, hey.
You want to watch this TV over here? Then it makes it 10 times better to me.
Exactly. Yeah, that stuff was creepy to me. Like him just sitting alone in this dark room, like nursing a drink and like just like let his imagination run wild.
Right.
Like, what is this guy up to?
Now, I don't want to get into like maybe who's right and who's wrong here. But Abby and Matt...
She should have knocked first.
No. Abby and Matt are like a couple. I would assume that they are a couple going into this. And she's always had like a thing for Alec, right? Alec Holland.
Uh-huh.
So now that Alec is, I guess, back, and she's like starts having a thing with him, like seeing him all the time, why wouldn't Matt be upset? Like, I'm right here.
Yeah.
I'm supposedly with you, and you're going off to see this heap of a man. Like,
this muck-encrusted mockery of a man.
Granted, he ends up not being like the coolest dude. But still, at the same time, it's like, I think Abby's got a little piece to go along with this by like kind of spurring someone she's supposed to be with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Just
Come on, Matt.
Just showing up some of my guys, you know? I mean, I don't agree with everything he does. Like, almost like the bugs and stuff. Like, I don't like that.
He turns out okay. He becomes a raven for Sandman.
Oh, good for him.
Did you know that? Anyone know that in the chat? I'm sure someone did. Matt Cable. He reemerges in Neil Gaiman's Sandman.
Does he?
As Dream's Raven.
You know what? I think you've told me that before, and I completely forgot it, so you surprised me again. Same fact. You can just
gift
recycle.
That keeps on giving. Get ready for it in 2 more years. I'm gonna dust it off and unleash it on you again here. Yes, Matt Cable would love hentai. He absolutely would. Probably produces some.
He's just drawing him in a back room. Yeah.
So on the topic of Matt Cable, he eventually kind of sobers up and hops in his car and goes to help Abby at one point.
He doesn't sober up that much.
Well, he crashes because he's fucking drunk and driving.
He didn't have a drink for 30 minutes, if that's what you mean by sobering up.
Yes. He conjured up some very sober centipede women that were crawling over him, impairing his vision as he was on the road. And he's laying there dying. Yeah. And a gigantic fly, like a Jeff Goldblum sized fly, right, comes in and basically like says, "Hey man,
hey man,
I can help you out here." And he's like, "No, I'm good." As it crawls into his gullet. And I think that's the last we see of him, but that comes into play later, where Matt had a little accident. And a fly beast went into his throat.
Right. Well, that's not the last you see of him because he shows up at the very end, fine. Like after he's gotten his car accident, he's like, "Oh, hey Abby, mind if I give you a lift?" And she's like,
"I don't have any flies in my throat."
And she's like, "Okay, as long as you don't have any flies in you." I don't. Oh, perfect.
Let's go. It's the car. Yeah.
As his like teeth fall out. Goldblum style.
Then he shoots pus out of his fingernails. Oh, I love the fly. So that's going on. Meanwhile, Abby has taken a job at a home for developmentally challenged children.
Yep.
Out in the swamp somewhere.
Yeah.
All this stuff's just like
terrible place.
Stone's throw away from the meat of the swamp.
Yeah.
And there's a child who is having nightmares of a tiny white creature called the Monkey King.
Yeah.
Who is basically your worst fear realized.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, accidentally conjured.
Yeah. So I read this over a couple nights. For some reason, this last chunk was kind of hard for me to finish. And I love all of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, but this one I just kept getting sleepy in.
Yeah.
I had a long week, and this one I just kept falling asleep in, so I had to kind of reread stuff. But this kid's parents conjured up this demon on a Ouija board.
Yeah.
Why?
Don't know.
Like, accidentally, obviously, but what are they doing with a Ouija board? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's 1984, for Christ's sake. What are you doing with one of these things?
I know Parker Brothers was just putting these things out by the truckload, but, like, you've got a kid.
Yeah.
You know, bring him in. Let him play around with it. Why are you doing sneaking out and doing this? So yes, this creature emerged, and then it was just kind of haunting the dreams of people around.
Yeah.
Do you have anything more on this? I'm grasping for straws here. No. Chat, light it up if I'm missing some good stuff in this. So we've got Entragon the Demon.
Yeah.
We've got the Monkey King. Got Swamp Thing pretty much embracing his nature side at this point.
Yeah.
After he's defeated Woodrue. What else is going on in this?
That's pretty much it. They have that one.
It's not much for 3 issues here.
I know, but like I know Alan Moore's a little wordy. They kind of vaguely introduced like the Monkey King in the first issue, while like Swamp Thing is kind of getting acclimated to like his body and what he's got going on. And then the second issue of this, Monkey King comes out full force.
Full force. Tiny fists of fury. Okie Dude says the moment where Swampy and the autistic kid talk about fear. Great moment. That is a great moment. That was the one I screenshotted.
Yeah.
Here, where they have kind of a heart-to-heart after all the craziness is behind them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Etrigan comes out in that second issue of this stuff. And then the last issue is pretty much just wrapping it up. And that's it. Like, not a whole lot happens. Even the last issue isn't even as wordy. It's more action-oriented.
Yeah, there are some good moments here for... I'm grabbing some screenshots that I found when they're going through the building where all the children live in.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of going room to room and seeing these children's fears come to life. And there's one panel of a kid. It says, in the next room, Michael. When Michael was 7, a school friend's mother had instilled in him a mortal fear of cancer. Unfortunately, she hadn't explained what cancer actually was. Michael had his own ideas. And then it's just this awful screenshot of, like, just organs and just nasty-looking biological parts floating around him.
Yeah.
So just, like, a lot of abstract fears made real to kids who don't know how to process or comprehend this.
Yeah.
I thought was interesting. There's another one where it looks like a kid was abused or sexually assaulted by a father, and they see this, like, horrific... creation.
Deformed person.
Yeah, that is like this father figure that's attacking a child, which is awful.
Bubblegum face.
Yeah, right up Moore's alley. Someone about to get raped. And then Etrigan comes in. Upon your necks, the breath of Etrigan. So we got some good Etrigan. There's my house when it was snowing the other day. Abby sees Matt Cable, so that's her fear. And then eventually the main child, I can't remember his name, but he kind of overcomes his fear and realizes, like, you're nothing. You're tiny.
Yeah.
You're minuscule. You're nothing. You're shit.
None of this is real. You suck. I hate you, Dad.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And the creature shrinks down to the point where Etrigan picks it up and swallows it, because the creature itself, the Monkey King, was like an escapee from hell. And Etrigan was essentially kind of like a bounty hunter who just came to Earth to scoop him back up and take him back, right?
Yeah. Tessitore said the demon said to Abby that it wasn't accidental that the Monkey King was summoned.
So the parents were up to no good?
Either that or it was a haunted Ouija board.
Haunted?
Haunted.
Would you like another rosé?
Pop me another rosé, babe. Babe, thanks.
You got it. Don't swallow any flies on your drive back.
You got it.
And before Etrigan goes, he also kind of gives Abby a warning that she may be in for some rough times ahead, some fast times at Ridgemont High, if the expression holds.
John Carlos, the kid calls him a scummy little monkey and then belittles him, and the monkey just starts shrinking. That was great.
It absolutely was.
Yep. Anytime anyone calls anybody a scummy little monkey, it really puts them into place.
Absolutely. What do you say to that? Yeah. Swamp Thing walks the young kid home. Abby gets in the car with Matt. They drive off. The story ends, and we get a nice little dedication with awe and affection to Jack Kirby himself. And that is where Volume 1 ends.
Yeah.
Jack Kirby, creator of Etrigan, the demon, among many other things.
We got Manuel Roca. Why does he pronounce Etrigan like that? I'm assuming you say Etrigan.
I mispronounce everything.
Yeah, that's true. That's a thing that you have to get over if you're with this guy.
That's how my parents pronounce things. That's how I pronounce things. We mispronounce everything.
I suppose, depending on the cadence of what the rhyme is, you could say Etrigan or Etrigan, depending what the...
Is it Etrigan? Is that it?
I would just say Etrigan and like kind of drop the A.
A like elephant?
Yeah. Really set people off in the chat. That'll do it.
Or a nice E like Alexander. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of where we leave off with Swampy here.
A strong starting point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I really like this. There's things that I am looking way forward to come.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually some things that are coming later on in the book that I'm not a huge fan of that actually get like kind of large acclaim, and I'm not a huge fan of. So we'll look forward to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it involve a Batman?
Who? No, it doesn't involve that.
Okay. All right.
No. Well, I'll let you know when we get there.
I can't wait that
It'll
long.
be a fun ride. I'll tell you after we stop.
All right, good. Just for me.
So anyway, what did everyone else think of this whole run, and what I guess are we excited about? Anything Swamp Thing? Let us know.
We got a couple minutes here before we're going to wrap this up. We're going to try to keep these a little bit more concise, just in case anyone's jumping in for the first time and they see this hour and a half time code and they're like, fuck that.
Yeah.
So we'll try to keep this to a little tighter, like 60-minute block, but we've got some time here. So, what did everyone think of this? If this is your first time reading Swamp Thing, if this is a second, third, or fourth time, what are your favorite moments of this? And without spoilers, anything that you're looking forward to here? Your stomach?
My stomach. I need to
poop.
Maybe I need to poop. Who knows? Had too many sex yams for dinner. I actually have a tweet here that I wanted to get into.
Get into it.
Somebody that couldn't make the stream tonight. Let me in on it. It's actually Sam Anderson.
Oh yeah, Sammy.
Hitting us up on the Twitters all the time.
Yep.
He said each issue of the first arc is a stage of grief.
Yeah.
Issue 20 would be denial, 21 anger, 22 depression, 23 bargaining. The next one, acceptance, as Swampy realizes he's never been human. And then in arc 2, more really seemed to relate more to Jason Blood than Etrigan.
Who wouldn't?
I suppose he'd relate more to the human than the demon.
The rhyming demon.
It took a while to get into rhythm of the rhymes.
Mm-hmm.
I was also that same way. The Monkey King going after damaged kids. What a pathetic douche.
Oh, what was he called again? Scuzzy little monkey?
Yeah, scummy little monkey.
Scummy little monkey.
But anyway, good.
Very good insight.
Thing.
Yeah, I completely would agree with that. Every one of those checks out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the denial as he's carrying with his body.
Yeah.
And then acceptance when he finally gets his act together and beats Woodrew. Absolutely. Good insight, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you're watching this on the replay.
Langley showing up just now to the chat.
Come on, Lang.
Would you just finish it? What are you doing here?
So what else? What else, Troy? We don't want dead air here. We got a couple more minutes.
Did anyone else see the trailer? What do you guys think of? Because did everyone hear the news where they cut the whole maybe 13 or 15 arc short to 10 episodes?
We talked about this.
But I want to know if the chat saw it.
Oh, but we did it on air.
So what?
Now we're just filling time, and pretty soon my wife is going to be banging on the floor saying, "Get up here and watch the kids." And I don't want to. So
take that, kids.
No, I love them.
Yeah. Oh, good. John Carlos, I really like this run. I've been meaning to reread and found your channel a week ago. Love the videos and reread Volume 1 for this video. Was not disappointed.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Great to hear. Thanks, man. Thanks for joining in.
Thanks for actually rereading something per our demand.
What else can we make you do? No, it's funny. Our initial Swamp Thing review, as we've touched on many times, it's been a popular one on our channel, but it's also got its fair share of negative feedback, mainly because we both, or maybe just I, say the artwork is dated in it.
Yeah.
And that being said, we just did that episode on a whim, having not read it recently. Yeah. And we were just like drinking and being like, what else can we talk about? Let's talk about Swamp Thing. And we both love it, but we had a couple and we hadn't like looked at it recently. And it is a product of the times. It looks like it was something from the 80s. Yeah. Having said that, it's fantastic.
Yeah, the artwork is great, but you can look at it and be like, that was drawn in the 80s.
Yes. Yep.
And it dates it as the 80s.
Yes. I've been looking at this like with a fine-tooth comb because I'm kind of watching my ass on that. But I really do like the artwork.
Yes.
And it is something that you do not see anymore.
No. The very like thin lines and super hyper detailed.
Everything is like shades, but it's like line shading. It's not like a
gradient of color.
No,
it's like actual line work.
It looks like they drew it with a light pencil and then shaded it in with lines rather than like a full solid color.
Yeah.
And it's so unique to this like Vertigo horror series.
Yeah.
Where like Constantine or Hellblazer is kind of like that, and a couple other, Sandman has a couple artists that do that. But it's very much a product of that times that you don't see anymore.
Right.
It is perfect for this type of storytelling.
Yeah. I don't know why. It just gives it like a weird, sketchy, kind of like horror-esque vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's because like maybe a lot of the EC comics were kind of that sort of vibe.
Yeah, it very much feels like an EC comic.
Mm-hmm.
And, I can't remember what I was going to say there.
And I just like that at this time there is like a different genre of a superhero type of adventure where it's not like a Batman or a Superman or they're doing this whirlwind adventure. It's like this pretty low-key supernatural horror comic.
Yeah.
Where you can like get behind this creature.
Yep.
You know, it's something completely different that Alan Moore totally creates.
Right. I remember what I was going to say now. It reminds me of like a low budget but critically applauded horror film from like the 70s or 80s where the effects don't look realistic, but they feel real because they actually put the time in to make it.
Yeah.
Where it's something like The Thing or Reanimator or From Beyond, where it's like, it's not scary. It doesn't look like it's real, but it looks like it's actually there and gross. And because someone did that, like it's off-putting and I'm unnerved by it because I don't want it to touch me. That is like how I feel about the artwork of this.
Yeah.
There's just something about it where it's like, man, that is just like, ugh.
Oh yeah, Johnny Athy also was saying the panel layout in this. There's some like really great layouts.
Fantastic
in this.
layouts in this.
Yeah.
I feel bad that we forgot to mention that. Good on you for bringing that up. Because that's something that I think they kind of carry through on a lot of the Swamp Thing titles after that. I know Scott Snyder and Yannick Paquette carry on that look. Where it's like this sprawling, huge multi-panel layout. Which is just phenomenal. And they absolutely introduce that in this. Especially in the first issue, which is very like mirrored. It kind of reminds me of Watchmen's Fearful Symmetry issue. Where like everything is kind of a mirror image of the other page.
And that issue was actually done by somebody else. It was like...
Was it not Toddlebun?
No, it wasn't Bissett or Toddlebun. It was Dan Day or something like that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that was by Dan Day.
It was really well done.
Yeah.
And I think the other artists maybe kind of followed through on that. And I'm curious if the previous issues had that look to it as well.
Yeah,
before this collection.
Not sure.
We'll find out.
We should probably check them out.
I might dive into that between book clubs. Do a little digging on the back.
Does anyone know if the DC Universe app has the stuff before Alan Moore's run? Because that'd be a fun dive to go into and just check them out.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. What else we got going on in this chat? I thought I saw some... Shafiq White. The trailer looked amazing, but I'm afraid it might be a little too serious, and now the chat is scrolled up and I forgot to read it. But the gist of it was it may not be as maybe lighthearted as what maybe they were... Not lighthearted, but like maybe it's like... It's too serious, taking itself too seriously.
Well, Titans is extremely serious. Doom Patrol is like off-kilter, weird... funny, dark.
Yes.
And this seems like just straight horror to me from like the trailer. Yeah, I mean, I'm all in. I think it looks good.
Yeah.
And I don't think they need a big budget for it. I would almost rather them kind of keep it minimal because the best horror stuff is done on like a minuscule budget.
Yeah. And
you throw money at it and it just falls apart.
They're actually doing like a guy in a suit too.
Yeah,
so
which I appreciate.
It's physically there. You know what I mean?
Does anyone have any other Swamp Thing media that they enjoy?
Some okie dude. Troy, I don't exactly understand why you love Nuke's face so much. I was a little confused in what you actually was going on. It reminded me a lot of the X-Files. Listen, if you're not into Nuke Face, okay, then step off. I really like the Nuke Face stuff. It's different.
Next volume?
It's either, I think it is, or it's in volume 3. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I really like it. Okay, so different strokes, different folks. You don't have to like everything I like, man. It's okay.
Yep.
I saw how you read books.
Anyone else confused how Abigail could possibly be attracted to Swamp Thing? Yes.
Yes. I mean,
I don't know what their relationship was prior to his transformation, but absolutely. I guess Matt Cable's kind of a dick, but like, geez.
He's got a great personality.
Yeah, and a vivid imagination once he gets a couple drinks in him. So other Swamp Thing appearances. We almost had a Guillermo del Toro produce Swamp Thing when he was kind of spearheading the cinematic adaptation of Justice League Dark.
Okay.
Which might be just in limbo right now. I don't think it's going to happen. It's not under him definitely anymore. But they were going to have Ron Perlman as Swamp Thing. And they did like some CGI tests, and it looked great. He was recently in the DC animated Justice League Dark.
Yep.
Which I really liked. I thought that was a solid DC animated output. And he wasn't in it a lot, but he was in it enough that you got like the full force that he could bring to it. I like that. I don't know. I've always really loved Swamp Thing as a character. Maybe it was because I grew up watching those like 5 episodes that aired, and I had all the toys. I still have them. They're like in the other room. Loved it. Just everything about it. Monster creatures, right up my alley.
Langley, Del Toro has almost made everything. That's very
true.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much. We're gonna put a pin in it right here.
Yep. Should we wrap it?
Yeah, we should wrap it up. We got volume 2
coming up next
month.
Up
at the end of next month, probably right before the Swamp Thing premieres.
Yeah, I think it premieres on like the 30th. So there's no way we could knock it out before that, and we're obviously not going to do it on the day of. Maybe the day after. I don't know. We'll have to look at the calendar, and we'll let you know when the next book club meeting, the mysterious book club, will reconvene at. It would be great if we could watch the first episode and then do the show. I'm not sure if it's plausible or feasible, though.
Yeah, well,
we'll see.
We'll check it out.
Yeah.
Look for the dates to drop. But until next time, when we do talk about more Swamp Thing live, all up in your face, I've been Torn to the Max Extreme.
And I've been Ghost Hunter Dave.
And this has been another live episode of the Mysterious Book Club for Imperious Rex. We'll see you for volume 2 in 1 month. Get it read, Langley.
That's right. Thanks for joining. Thanks to everybody that jumped in, new or old listeners, readers, viewers, everything. And, check us out on Patreon. If you have some money to throw around, we're not asking for much. If you have some fliff you want to throw our way to keep the lights on, that's fine. As you can see, they're dimming as we speak.
That's right.
They're unpredictable. Otherwise, tune in on a regular basis where we try to put output out once a week or so.
Sure.
And I think next week we might be doing a live Q&A. So reach out to us with any questions that you'd like aid.
Tally up them questions.
That's right. So that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Stay swampy. And
stay swampy. I like it.
See you next time on the Swamp Thing Spring Fling.
That's right. Sex Yam!